Go. I do believe we are live. So I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Sorry for my spasm. I don't know if it's... Love you. I love you. I love you. If you're hearing me say I love you right now, you are, at least in my mind, alive. And in that way, you qualify for being loved by me. Today's stream topic is about loving the living, quite literally. It was inspired by a little squirrel. A little squirrel, and then later some burbies, but always people, right? I really do love people, and I don't know what it is I love about people necessarily, because there's different things I love in different people. And I was like trying to, at least in my own mind, come to a conclusion, come to a, like, one of my eyes are blurry, come to a understanding as to why I love people. And for me, it's because they are so alive. People are so very alive, and that is something I like. And then this morning, I was sitting outside on this spot. Toxicity. I have returned once again. May you be welcomed and loved, dear friend. Thank you. I love you. How do you love me, Mel? Because you're alive. You're alive to be loved, right? So you were loved by default. So I watched this little squirrel sitting as my day starts, right? Like I am kind of still booting up. I'm in that space where I'm kind of sleepy and my brain feels constricted, and it's like I'm kind of limited in my capacity to express myself. And then I get to just watch a squirrel. And this squirrel is going about his business, and he's underneath this marula tree. Right, so right there. He was right there for me. I was like looking at him through the window. And I'm watching this little squirrel crumbing through that. I don't know what he's eating, but he's eating something. Every now and then there's something being picked up and nipped on, and then there's like this apprehensiveness, right? Maybe apprehensive is not the right word. Alertness, vigilancy in his being, with us being these entities that are in a relative proximity to him or her. So we're being watched every now and then goes back to eating food. And I wonder, there's probably a little bit of a difference with the experience that creature has looking at me as a living thing, and the experience I get to have looking at that thing as a living thing, right? And there was this sense of like, this is nice. This experience I'm having watching squirrel right now, this is nice. This is something I like. This is good. And then, of course, the squirrel goes about their business, and I go about mine, and I'm in the kitchen washing up, and I'm looking through the window, and I see these burbies, like a bunch of burbies, small, like burbies that big with little tail feathers, just like jumping on the rocks, jumping from this rock to that rock, and they're not doing too much of flying. It looks like they're just jumping, and again, I am, I am like taken by this experience of, oh, this is nice, right? And then I was like, yeah, I think I should talk about this sensation, this feeling I'm feeling right now. And the way that it articulates in my mind is loving the living, right? That we can just simply love things being alive, right? And I was very much like drawing these parallels between the way I tend to love animals and the way I tend to love myself, the way I tend to love others, and how there is somewhat of a discrepancy. And to bring it back just to loving the living. And that is it. You can go home now if you want. You showed up for today's stream topic. It's something to think about. It's nice. Super nice having you here with me. It is Toxicity and Duck that I get to send blessings. And to our friends lurking as well, of course. I feel like The Walking Dead right now 3 hours worth of sleep because of the storms keeping old Zoe dog up all night. And these people love me. Yes, we do, bro. Sleepy, you were not. You were loved, dear friend. I'm gonna open the comments on a secondary display so that I may see what you friends say. You know what I mean? There we go. Winner. I am winning. I'm already home. Should I leave? No, maybe I missed some. I'll read more. Right now is the first thing I do when I wake up. Right now is the first thing I do when I wake up. Is also go outside and absorb the local wildlife. How about that, huh, Doc? That is something we're drawn to. We're drawn to this experience of nature, getting to see the outside world a little bit. I don't know if there's a level of connecting with it as well, right? Maybe there's a part of me that is thinking about that stuff. Like, am I connecting with that squirrel a little bit more by watching them? Is there a sense of appreciation for my life that I get to have? I'm saying all of these things knowing the answers, right? Because I was watching that little squirrel and thinking to myself, like, what if my POV right now was eating scraps of dehydrated amarula on the ground? And then, at the same time, I thought to myself that if I was that squirrel eating scraps of amarula off the ground right now, I'd probably be stoked. I'd probably be so stoked. I'd probably be like, yeah, this is great. I'm eating amarula off the ground right now. Right? Like chips. I was thinking of it like chips. Like little piece of dehydrated, like fruit roll-up bits. It's probably not what it tastes like, but that's the way I was imagining it tasting like for that little squirrel. Loving the living. I'm in a place of loving, of myself being living. Yes. Yes, this is true. Love is true. Joy Beav is here with us as well. It's nice having you, friend. The thing that helps me appreciate the living is seeing my pets in the morning or afternoon when I wake up late enough. Yeah, I completely agree, toxicity. I think that kind of like still falls under today's stream topic, right? Your pets also count. Anything that is alive, right? There is a part of us that loves that aliveness, right? And we should celebrate that part of ourselves. Especially since we had lost 1 year, it kind of kicked me into gear in terms of appreciating the life around me. We had lost 1 year. Oh, you had lost one of your pets 1 year, I'm guessing. Also, being in Australia, my walls are surrounded by living things, so I find life almost everywhere. Living in South Africa, it's very much the same. There are little monkeys and squirrelies and a lot of lizards and burbies. I haven't seen too many snakes. And I saw some dassies. Another type of rodent species living in that mountain, those rocks as well. They're super cute. Toxic, I feel that hurt. Zoe is in her final years. This might be her last summer. I don't miss her favorite walks. I don't miss her favorite walks no matter how tired I am. Bless. I'm already home. Should I leave? No, stay. We're having you here. Oh, I got a dentist appointment this morning, so leaving it is. Bless. Good luck with your dentist appointment. I know that cannot be necessarily comfortable. I have been experiencing tooth pain myself as well. I have one wisdom tooth, and it's growing out like that. And I know about it. I know in which direction it's growing because it's letting me know. It's showing me that there's pain happening in this vector emanating from my being. All right. So good luck at your dentist appointment. May it go super well. And then maybe you should at some point, again, miss that. Love is true. That's why you get all hot and bothered when you talk about me wanting to go live alone in the woods. It's hermit-like behavior. I learned to be surrounded by nature. That's all that calls to me. Nature is everywhere, bro. Like, it's not any less nature to look at people go about making their plastics. Right? That's the point I keep making to you, is that it's all the living. It's all living. Right? Then we're supposed to love that. I hope it's less than $4,000. Don't take the nuts. No, it probably won't be that much. My insurance will absorb most of the cost, bless them. The closer I get to nature, the closer I get to feeling like true duck. Yeah, I get that, and I 100% endorse. What's the other words I'm looking for? Uplift, stand. I'm a fan of, nature. Like, and I feel we should, as we continue developing as a species, have a big respect for nature and integrate nature into our buildings and our city design as well. However, I don't believe the parts of the cities we're living in right now, the part of the cities we disdain, is supposed to be that way, right? So yes, you might want to, on a level, get away from that hustle and bustle, but if it is set up in the right way, you shouldn't want to, right? And I feel, again, if you leave, you take out one gear, you take out one mover on the needle of good or bad, right? You're not, and technically in that way, you're making it easier for the evil to win, because I do consider you a good person, like that, right? That's why I get riled up about it. Gabbity goo! I have been like building messages in my mind, but now that you're here, Gabbity goo, I can just tell you directly that I feel I've been slacking, bro. Like I don't know if I lost any muscle mass, but I don't feel as giacomatic as I know I could be. I am considering doing a little bit more fasting, but most of my exercise these days has been yoga, right? And like 15 minutes of it a day at that, so I can't exactly expect to get super jacked. But I've also not been eating a lot of protein, and I've been gaining some an unhealthy weight. So you're inspiring me, right? All of that to say you're inspiring me to get jacked as well, bro. The fasting, I think, is something I do actually want to start taking a little bit more seriously again. I got to look at some new data today, and it's same old, same old. I've known this stuff for a long time, but now I know it again more recently. Hey, KC2525. It's nice having you here, Heather. Sending you blessings. Yoski out of it. Hey, bless, bro. The closer, Lozillian. At least it's dark and not goose. Otherwise, you'll be in a very different place right now. I got a wisdom tooth that needs to be removed. It's gonna cost me so much money, but the appointment isn't for that. I have to go to the dental surgeon for that. Yeah. Uh, yeah, teeth. How about those? How about those things? How about these small little protruding stones that are connected to our skeleton? All right, all of this covered by meat and skin, flesh and sinew, and then just little stones that protrude straight out my skull. Why? Why would you be? Why did it have to be like that? And like if we were like evolved with a different set of teeth, we would still be beautiful to each other, but we wouldn't have teeth. Like I don't know if I can do better than teeth. That's the thing as well, right? That's the other side of the joke. Do we go like straight gums? No, that's worse. No, it's better. Gums are better. I don't know if we will chew as much. We might starve as a species. No, please stop. Oh, no. My mind is getting wrecked by no teeth fractal. No, it's not nature watching humans make their plastics. Yes, it is. That is the kind of nature that tears my nature. It's to its very core. And I agree. And I'm not saying, like, again, bro, like, have you ever put a bunch of rats in a room, and then maybe there's a couch in the room, and then you lock them in that room and you give them food? Bet by the end of the week, there's gonna be holes in your couch, and there's gonna be a rat living in it. That's gonna be your reality, right? So in that way, we have been stupid in our usage of our resources, right? And I feel like our species has as well. But in the same way that those rats are being very natural in their making holes in the couch and building a little nest in there. It's a very natural thing for them to do. It's natural for us as human beings to make things as well, including the plastics. I'm not saying, yay, plastics are natural and we need to keep making them. Quite the contrary, right? I was just making an extreme example to be like, that's also technically the living. Technically it's the living, right? Like a beehive, like a bee builds a hive, like adds to those little blocks with its own body's waxes. That would be a little bit weird if we all used our spit and skin to build things. I'm gonna stop going down this fractal. Carlin Dickerson, good morning from Texas. What a blessing. Love you, Texas. Like an extra lot. My cousin is moving to Texas this Thursday. She's going to be an au pair. Houston. Is it Houston, Texas? No, it's Austin. She's going to be living in Austin, Texas. Which side of Texas are you from? You don't have to tell me, but good morning to you, dear friend. Bless you. No. Honestly, I should be exercising more, if not for the body shape, at least to maintain a healthy-ish weight. Yeah, like it's not even about weight. Exercise is not about weight. Exercise to me is about brain health, right? It's like your brain is very much tied to your body, and if your body is not healthy, your brain doesn't function the way it's supposed to either. And my brain is very much attached to my ability to make words and make art and talk to people and make plans for my future. So, like that's what it really is about for me. Is like strong body, strong mind. Fasting can burn body fat, but muscle mass too. At least you could start with a very lean figure, but you'll have to eat in order to get jackety jigged. Yep, it is true. It is true. I'm eating maybe 40% of the calories I'm supposed to eat. I'm eating enough calories to live, right? Don't stress. I'm just not eating enough calories to build, which is fine for now. How are the poppers? Do let us know, Gabrico. Being surrounded by the hustle and bustle is what makes my skin itch. I hate that shit. Everyone is so angry, so fast paced, only worried about who's going to make more money than who. Again, that is not what living is. Alright? Those people want to continue living, and unfortunately, we find ourselves in a system that requires us to hustle and bustle in order to continue living. Alright? Your skin is not being made to itch by the people and the living. Your skin is made to itch by the dead parts, right? The soulless fractal. That's the part that makes my skin itch as well. So again, I think we're saying the same thing, Doc Dad. We love the living. We want to have the living in our lives. I'm halfway through a cut diet, less than 2K calories, at least 100 grams of protein a day, and I've lost 20 pounds since May. Yeah, less than 2K calories. That is a pretty significant cut, but he is eating his protein. I'm not getting 100 grams of protein. Like, if I'm lucky, I'm getting like 30 grams of protein right now. It's kind of rough. If it was anyone but you talking about fasting, I'd be getting bored. But I know you mean straight up starving yourself, and I'm not on board for that. You can do intermittent fasting, where you do not eat for periods of your day. You can do long-term fasting. You can do water fasting. All right, and like it's not starving yourself, Joy Vive. If you have body fat, you're not gonna starve. Right? Like starvation is when you die from having no food. Is that true? Hey Google. Hey Google. Define starvation. Suffering or death. The death part. caused by lack of food. Suffering is when you want for things to be differently. All right? So there's no suffering. You can eat when you want to. We have an abundance of food in our lives. There's no suffering and there's no death. So it's not starvation, Joy Vive. Boom. Get English language. And then based on that fractal, what I'm trying to say is that you do it controlled, right? Like if a person has 8% body fat, then fasting is not going to be the thing that's going to work for them. If you're like me, that has like 22 to 25% body fat, you can afford to lose some fat. And there are now a bunch of studies out. As long as you don't let yourself atrophy, in other words, lay down for the whole day, not moving, kind of like still move your body, go for walks, still do your yoga practice while you're fasting, the muscle mass loss is minimal. You do actually end up losing testosterone, part per millions or deciliters or whatever, as you go deeper and deeper into your fast. But then as soon as you start reintroducing calories, your testosterone pops up higher than it was before you started your fast. And then your body also releases a bunch of growth hormone while you're in the fasting process as well. So there's so many different mechanisms at play that makes you not die, right? And if you have the calories, like the reason we get fat is so that we can fast, right? Like they are linked. Like there's a reason we store fat on our bodies. And if we never use that fat, I believe it becomes a burden, not only when it comes to the actual calories that you're carrying extra, but for me, I have noticed the fatter I get, the more I want to eat. So it's like a double whammy of, like, it's almost like a snowballing effect kind of vibe. So I try and bring myself back from there. I'm in Austin as well. That's so cool. That is pretty cool. Bless you, friend. Bless Austin, Texas. Gav, how are you getting 100 grams of protein? Have I asked you before? You eat a kilogram of meat. You eat 10 eggs and one steak. And then you get 100 grams of protein. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's just a lot of food. No, toxic. I'm in a small city of 22,000 people, and there's hundreds of cities around me that have big 2 million people. I have no problem with the city. The city's right to be, and I love the culture and food. But too many misguided people trying to make me feel less than by taking a more natural approach. I don't need it. Misguided people trying to make me feel less than by taking a more natural approach. I don't know what that last sentence means, but love you, bro. About 50 grams from whey protein isolate, chicken, fish, turkey, beef, Sam. Yeah. Which is like 2 scoops. 2 scoops of whey protein in a shaker, and you get basically your 50 grams of protein. So it's more self-destructive culture than modern society brings. I can relate to that, not gonna lie. You can call it self-destructive, or since we're talking about fasting, you can call it a type of autophagy, right? Eating the parts of yourself. Hey, we have Bojo here with us as well. Bless you, bro. Kiddo has gotten into snails. He has a small fish tank with some small fish, and we caught some river snails. He absolutely loves watching them. They reproduce a lot, though. Is the fish eating them? Should I be asking questions like this? I have no moral objection, for what it's worth. I think the fish, if they want to eat the snails, they probably will. And I think this is natural. I'll say that. But I'm just thinking about like an overpopulation of snails, right, in your fish tank, and then it ends up killing the rest of them. That is, to me, is a bigger deal than them getting eaten. I think the term living extends in both directions from humans. We could describe living creatures as the cells and particles that make up the creatures around us. Or it could mean the shifting and morphing universes around us in every direction for trillions of light years. Who's to say what exactly is living? I'm not here to say what exactly living is. All I'm here to say is that I think we're supposed to love it. All right? Do you agree? Yay or nay? Are we supposed to love the living, both as ourselves and as the others, or not? All right, and I feel like it's almost like one of those answers that answer themselves. I don't really need you to. Now you know, right? You know that living is nice, right? Sometimes. Nancy's here with us. Bless you, friend. Whoa, so many people now. Was there an influx of people in the stream? I didn't see, but bless them all. Toxicity. You remind me of something I read about cancer. People hate the cancer due to loss. A researcher was saying how they are just cells that are living and reproducing. Resulting illness is unfortunate. Yeah, like technically, a cancer cell is one of your cells that died but didn't execute properly its like death instructions, right? So it's dead, but it's still continuing its reproductive cycle, and then it wants to live in the same way that you do, in the same way that everything else does, even though it's dead. So it does, and then it kills you in the process. But fortunately, we're teaching our immune cells how to spot that stuff a little bit better as well. You eat 10 eggs. Okay, Gaston. I see no problem. I see no problems here. I love that the fact that you okay Gaston me. That is kind of funny. That part is very hilarious. I know what fasting is. I fast daily and break at noon. What you call fasting is anorexia by another name. No, it's not. No, it's not. I have never been anorexic. Hey Google, define anorexia. Anorexia, an eating disorder characterized by restriction of food intake, leading to low body weight, which I've never been, not once. You've not once, a single time, seen me at low body weight. You've seen me higher body weight, but you've never seen me low body weight. Typically accompanied by intense fear of gaining weight and disturbed perceptions of body weight and image. Yeah, it's like I definitely do not have anorexia. Again, anorexia is like a time thing. Like you keep doing it to the point where you're literally like wasting away as a person, right? Like I've never gotten close to that, and you know that, Joy. Like you shouldn't say shit like that because it's not true. It's not true. Simply not true. The longest I fasted as well was 2 weeks. And that fast happened when I was 18, right? So I haven't done longer than a week fast since I was 18 because of how my body felt back then. I was like, I don't think 2 weeks of fasting is good for me. And then I didn't do it again, right? Like again, you are painting me out to be something I'm not. And like it does fucking suck, Joy V, just for what it's worth, right? Like when anyone preface something like, "Oh yeah, I would listen to you, but since it's you talking, I'm not going to," right? Like that doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good, right? It's not exactly a very nice thing to say to the people you love. Oh yeah, because you are who you are, I'm gonna now not listen to any of the good advice you have to give. No, no. I mean, plug my ears and sing la la la. Yeah, apparently I have body dysmorphia as well, Nancy. Body dysmorphia, an intense fear or grieving, an intense fear of gaining weight, and disturbed perceptions of body weight and image. Like, do you really believe that? Oh, really, Juggy? Like, really? Like, seriously? Or is it just like a word you use in passing, because of the shock value? That is actually an amazing example. By the way, fasting kills cancer cells. Right? Just by the way. So again, that's one of the reasons that I fast. Not like, oh, there's something wrong with my body. I'm gonna, I have this intense fear of gaining any more weight. Let me start fasting so I don't. For me, it's the health benefits. The fact that you have this process in your body called autophagy, that you have all of this redundancy. Your cells keep spitting out new versions of itself, kind of nilly-willy, when you have extra calories. And then as soon as you start restricting your calories, your cells have to be literally, on a biological level, more vigilant. with its use of energy. And then in that vigilant state, it starts cutting things that ought not be, right? Including cancers, including, like weirdly enough, some diabetics end up being healed. And like there are 100% documented cases of this as well, right? I'm not telling you as a diabetic to start fasting. I'm just saying there are people who have had success, right? And that's just like one of the examples. Never mind like the brain health stuff when it comes to like the Alzheimer's, brain-derived neurotrophic factor and growth hormones. Yeah, like it's fasting does not cure cancer. I said it helps. Your cancer cells literally grow on glucose. Hey Google, does fasting help cure cancer? And by the way, Joyviv, just so you know as well, the efficacy of cancer treatment, chemo, goes up exponentially when people fast during it. Fasting and cancer, what does the research say? Let's go read from thecancercenter.com. Fasting for cancer. What does the research say? It is widely accepted that a healthy diet can reduce weight, can also reduce cancer. Fasting is a weight control, strategic measurement, treatments is inconclusive, and more studies are needed for this investigative issue. Breast cancer resurgence. The fasting for 13 hours a day may reduce breast cancer resurgence and death from the disease. Prevention and improved treatment. Scientists at 2 other California universities concluded separately that calorie reduction and fasting may help reduce cancer risk and improve effectiveness of treatment in attacking cancer cells. Like now there's a list. Slowing cancer growth, promoting cell regeneration. Like, why are you arguing with me, Joyviv? Like, this stuff is known. I'm not saying this stuff like I think. No, I've been fasting since I was 18. That's like almost a decade ago. And like this information has been known literally since before I was born. Since before I was born, a guy went from weighing 386 kilograms to 72. He fasted for 380 days or something. Not dead. Not dead. Very much not dead. Like human beings are very capable. And we've just never tried. Have you ever actually tried a prolonged fast, Joyviv? I know you're a diabetic, so it might not be an option for you. But you learn a lot about yourself as well. Like you feel great. You feel very good. And again, right, like the way I see it is that we were never supposed to have this abundance of calories always. If you think about the hunter-gatherer approach that human beings had to our planet, we probably had an excess, a surplus of calories, and then we had none. And then we had an excess, and then we had none. And in that way, we would store fat, and then we would fast. And we got stronger during our fasting times, not weaker. And it is literally proved statistically. Like there's data that backs. I mean, the data is old kind of vibes, but there's data that backs people that fast by the 5-day mark of having no calories in their body. Their bench press and their like leg press increase sometimes by like 10%, right? Which is a lot if you're like benching a lot or leg pressing a lot. Our bodies are very powerful. And if you think you're gonna drop dead when you're fasting, you're wrong. You will stay amongst the living. I promise. I promise, I've tried. I wouldn't recommend you fast for, 40 days. I recommend you fast for 3. But that's not anorexia. That is healthy living, teaching yourself things about yourself as well. In case you haven't heard today, you are loved and cherished, contribution to this world. You are worthy of recognition, and you deserve a voice. You are blessed with open eyes and conscious mind. Bless you, bro. Thank you. I heard the same thing from a comedy special by Hank Green. Actually, an amazing example. Cancer, while the debilitating is very much a living organism that unfortunately evolved to live unsustainably. Yeah. And someone talked about that. Hank Green talked about it in the comedy show. Celebrate yourself today, bless. Cancer comedy is hilarious. I have a girlfriend who started keto. She's eating so many eggs. Yeah. And the keto process is also better for your brain. It's literally better down to a mitochondrial level, right? Like your mitochondria kick out more energy per unit of energy that you take in. So you become a more efficient, both to the planet and to yourself, human being. Right. And that technically is, again, a fasting state you're putting yourself in. Like the keto state is very much associated with fasting as well. Ketones are produced when your body burns fat as its primary fuel source instead of glucose. And it is great. Egg is good. Yeah, 50-50 for like fat to protein ratio as well. Jerry I know, right? One of the best I've seen was all written by Hank Green, being himself and studying comedy for ages. I've never been one for fasting personally. I always go with the eat when hungry, drink when thirsty idea. But I know that can't work for all of us. Yeah. I also do not have any off switches when it comes to my food. Like I can literally continue eating indefinitely and I will still be hungry after that. Like it's kind of rough. So fasting has been a tool for me because it's like a metabolism thing. As soon as I start eating, my metabolism speeds up, and by the time all of the energy I have eaten has been eaten, like my cells are wide open, they have absorbed all of the energy, and my ghrelin is like, oh wait, bro, keep putting more energy in these open little cells. So I do, right? And fasting is the opposite of that, right? Like when you reduce the amount of insulin your body has, you get better in many ways. Like it's very anti-inflammatory. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. This is true. Fasting is not a disorder. It's a spiritual and biological practice to keep the machine running efficiently. Yep, fasting is part of learning what the body specifically needs. Agreed. All I'm saying is I have my own methods and I'm happy with myself. We all have our shared methods in becoming proud of who we are. This is true. This is true. This is why we do our own research. It is a system flush and system reset in many ways. This is a wild diversion from loving the living, but somehow I think it can still be linked to the topic. It is, right? Because we all love living. And many of us have this idea in our minds, me included, for what it's worth, that living means eating, when it doesn't. And as soon as you show yourself that by fasting, it's very hard to let go, to detether those ideas, right? And I'm saying that from the perspective of having been there and still, right? Like when I think about fasting, the first thing my mind goes is like, oh no eating for me, life boring, life not as fun, not as living. But no, like when I'm in that state, you don't even think about food, right? Like it's not part of your priorities in that way necessarily, right? Like at least in my mind starts gearing into like higher level reasoning instead of being like, oh, where food, right? Like I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying. It can be like making food is as simple as break egg in pan, do this, and then egg cook, right? Like that's the level of granular thinking you have to do for thinking about food. Where if you're thinking about, your future and how your future integrates with other people's hopes and dreams for their lives, and how their specific skill sets can integrate into your specific skill sets, and how they can fill this need in this specific space in your life, and how you could potentially, by having them fill that need, add a certain need into their lives. Like that higher level reasoning is what starts happening, at least in my mind, when I'm in a fasted state. And again, it shows you that there is so much more to this being, this creature that you are, than you realize. And again, it's like a meditation, right? It's like if you go very deep into meditation and you reach some sort of point that you feel something, or if you smoke a joint, or if you eat a mushroom, you get to this point of like significance, right? If you sleep with someone, I don't know, like human experiences, living experiences. Fasting is a part of the living experiences we get to have, and I guess that is what I'm trying to say. I think the reason I got a little bit riled up is because Joy Vive has this way of like fucking pressing my buttons. Like it just feels kind of shitty in my mind, right? Like I'm not saying you're being shitty. It feels shitty to read words like, I know what fasting is. No, that's the previous one. The if it was anyone but you talking about fasting, I'd be on board. But I know you mean straight up starving yourself, and I'm not on board with that. Like that's not what I mean, right? And I didn't ask you to get on board, and I wasn't forcing you or telling you that you're supposed to start doing this. How did this even start? How did we even start talking about this? Oh yeah, Galbadygoo. I mentioned in passing that I want to fast, and that I exposed myself again to a bunch of data today of like, oh yeah, I know this is exceptionally good for you. And we've have like literally decades of data to prove that. And then I'm trying to share my passion and my hope, and then I get, in my mind at least, just like belittled. Is it belittled? Reduced to nothing? There's a specific word that I keep not knowing how to use. The word we have in Afrikaans is afskryf. It's when you go, no, you just fuck off. You don't do that, right? And I really dislike being, and like Joy Vive, I don't know if it's something that you're doing intentionally, but it fucking sucks every time you do it. Like seriously. All right. I inhale, and I remind myself love is true. Didn't Steve Jobs think he could cure himself of his cancer through fasting and juice cleanses? That worked well. Yeah. He also had a very curable form of cancer, right? But for him, it was an ego thing. He was like, no, I will not. It was about him being better. Him being better about the average pleb who has to go and get chemo or whatever, right? And he died for that. He died for ego. He didn't die for fasting. Like that's definitely not how it ended up happening. No. Was a fruitarian. Fasting and procedures can help increase chances, if only by a little bit. Increase your chances. This is true. Fasting is not a cure, but it's an extra boost to treatment and prevention. Yeah. That is what I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to give medical advice. I was just trying to talk about what I wanted to do.
You're a doctor.
I'm fucking tripping out again, dude.
I am a surgeon.
I am a surgeon. We're talking about fasting, dude. Right? Then maybe maybe you can tell me if you start telling me about something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like about sound, for example, right? And I go, oh, John, if anybody else, this is the exact words. If anybody else was telling me about sound right now, I'd listen. But because you so and so, I'm not listening. And I'm like, oh my god. Because I starve myself, right? Because I starve myself. That's why they won't listen to me. Like that's what fasting is. You don't eat. You're not starving. Starving is when you suffer or die. Die from the lack of food. That's what starvation is.
The thing is, also, technically, we don't even need to eat close to as much as we do, or as many times a day as we do, in order to live healthily. Even
that was kind of the Bible was trying to put down. Today's stream topic is about loving living. Right.
We've gotten so conditioned with accessibility to food, and because people wanted to make money in the food industry. They pushed the narrative,
They-
you have to eat 3 times a day, and there's too many meals in between.
And then they pushed sugar at the same time,
Mm.
which is highly addictive and,
And also
encourages you to
causes
continue
hunger.
eating. That's what I'm
Yes.
trying to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
it causes you to, like have an increased appetite directly after you eat it because it literally spikes your insulin, and that spiked insulin opens all of your cells.
Mm.
And then after all of those glucose molecules have been absorbed, those cells are still open, and your body is like, oh, open cells. Let me ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and then your body is like, no, I'm hungry. Then you eat the calories, then it spikes your insulin, then your cells are open, then you get ghrelin, and it's like that rinse and repeating. And I was just trying to talk about that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm fucking still tripping out, bro. We have a word in Afrikaans is afgeskreven. Ek fucking haat dit om net afgeskryf te word, bro.
Yeah. Dismissed.
Dismissed. That's the fucking word. Getting dismissed. Right? Like I've never done that to any of you friends. Never dismiss you. I never be like, eh. So I don't understand why you would do it to me. It really, like, and again, it's like a family trauma thing for me, right? Like this space is my family, right?
Yeah.
This is my family that I've now created for myself. And in my family that I came from, being dismissed is the number one experience that I hate my family the most for, right? I use that word very liberally and I don't like using it. But there is a hatred, like a fucking rage that arises in me when I get dismissed. And being made to feel that way is not how we should make each other feel. Like it's not fair. I achieved my weight loss goals through use of intermittent fasting combined with a healthy diet. I lost 50 pounds in 2 years, gained 40 while weight training and eating a caloric surplus. And now I'm dieting while weight training and I'm losing weight while getting stronger with larger muscles. Bless you, bro. May you keep getting healthier.
Yes.
I think it's an extremism that makes belief /tricky/dangerous. It is the fact that cancer feeds off sugar, insulin, preservatives, proven fact. Yet, when people hear fasting cures cancer, I don't know if the rest of your message is coming through. Fasting cures cancer. I think fasting decreases the toxin, insulin, sugar preservatives, combined with increasing the nutrients, supplements, treatments that can help survival rates. Yeah, like I feel like we're splitting hairs again. That's like me saying you should exercise. It's good for you. And then you going like, no, Mel, but there's this 0.001% of people that drop dead of a heart attack if they exercise. So you should include and sure, but I do talk in extremes. Exercise. It's good for you. No, but no, even stop. Why are we fighting about this? We know this is truth. We know this.
It is the food also, the whole food industry. Quantity exponentially went up and quality exponentially went down.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the food they sell you the contents are so lacking of all the things you actually need.
And then I believe that actually leaves you in a state of hunger as well because your body is craving those nutrients. So you just eat to try and get those nutrients in.
So your body is always hungry, but we don't have the parameters to say like, my body is hungry for this specifically. My body is hungry for this specifically.
And again, fasting for me, like,
silences
teaches you.
all those voices.
Yes, it teaches you what you need. When you come back to eating again, your body is like, hey, oh. Like for instance, I start craving things very specifically. I'm like, this would be so nice if I can eat again, dude. And like having broccoli and chicken is like the best meal I've had in my life after a fast. Wat hy vir ons hier sê maak om te drink.
Yeah.
Ek kan dit nie so wyf vir my aangee.
Ek mag.
Let me
There's
treat myself.
apparently like eye tests as well, color based, where they can test what minerals and vitamins and everything your body needs. Like it'll be like visual test, like green on green, like but very slight difference, but you'll be able to see if you have.
Look at the colors.
Yes.
As an eye test. Okay.
Yes. So for each thing they'll have a different color with a different thingy, and if you can't see the dot within the dot, then
You might be lacking
you're
something.
lacking that thing.
That's very cool, dude. I didn't know about that at all.
Yeah.
I would love to do stuff like that. I'm still like team, cyberware, bro.
Yeah, because eventually AI will just be able to scan. Brrr, okay, this is your information.
I want like a
You
little,
need
I want
this.
like a little mini lab. Oh, that I want to plant into my body that just like samples blood. Oh, every minute samples my blood.
Yeah, AI. And then it like makes you an eating plan for the foreseeable.
And then I can fast as well,
So-
and I can watch all of my bars, bro. And then not starve. Not starve again,
And
right?
eventually, with immortal suits, we'll just have our bodies fed with everything it needs directly.
I don't want
once we
that.
can just produce.
I don't want to know if I want that. I mean, I would like to be able to eat sunlight, but again, we do not have the surface area, dude. We need way more surface area.
Or
I mean,
material science beyond.
What
our
you could
fan-
do, actually, is you can have your suit on you, and I've talked about like the whole nanomachine suit, and then it literally, when you want to charge, it unfolds itself, and you have to stand there naked, waiting for your suit to eat, so you can eat too. All right, okay. Thank you, bro, for taking my mind down something else. Dismissive. I think that's the word you're looking for. Yeah. Dismissive. Thank you. Love is true unless I disagree with you. Joy. I'm making me laugh today. It's okay, Mel. Even in disagreement, I wasn't trying to disagree or have you agree with me. I was just sharing, right? I was just being a living being in this world. I just want to be loved. I just want to be loved as this little living creature that has hair growing out of his head, that has these little objects that he keeps with him, right? Oh man, little special things, little gifts that I get from friends, right? Like that's all I was trying to bring into today's stream, and then being dismissed, freaking makes me feel like this living thing is not loved, and then I fucking get enraged. I can't help it. It's probably my own traumas, so I'll get better as well. I'll just stop reading. I think that's what I'm gonna start doing. Because like that's the alternative. I'm just not gonna read comments like that, you know. But then again, it's like an ignoring people thing. Like the absence, the opposite of love is indifference, right? Like I do not want to reach a point with anyone where I'm indifferent towards them being here or not, right? That feels like it would be a betrayal of my spirit. It will be a betrayal of literally today's stream topic. I want to love the living, right? That is kind of my point. We're reacting this way because we care about you and we're aware that fasting can lead you to dark places and we don't want to see that happen. Fasting can lead you to dark places. I mean, literally life can lead you to dark places. The internet can lead you to dark places. The internet can lead you to much darker places than fasting could ever hope to, right? But you're not warning me against that, right? You're not telling me to not use the internet, right? Again, it's up to you. It's up to you. And haven't I been proving to you that I have like a sense of responsibility? At least a sense, right? I might not be the most responsible person in the world, given, I'll admit that. But Yossi, do I not have enough social proof at this point? Have I not been alive the last 1,000-something days to continue doing the stream fasting? I've been fasting. I've done at least 10 fasts, during my stream history as well. And here I am, still sitting. Have I gotten any darker? I might get a little bit more irritable during my fast, but that's not darkness. That's just irritability. Because again, your brain is like thinking, opening multiple tabs at the same time. And in talking about not having to eat as much as we do, CGP Gray mentioned that he found out that breakfast is bullshit in his research and it increases his productivity. They even have like studies where like they did it on farmers, but farmers that didn't eat a breakfast before their workday ended up having more capacity, right? Their endurance was like over the board increased for that day. So again, yeah.
Remember also, when your body is digesting food, it's doing work. That's an amount of work that your body has to do that you now are also using energy for. Even
Mhm.
though food gives you energy, it still utilizes bodily functions.
No, there's some food types that like burn almost more energy than it gives you, kind of vibe.
Yeah.
All right. I was wondering if mother's criticism about appearance was an unconscious impetus. Yeah, probably. Probably. You know, I feel like again, my mom was a beautician, John.
Mhm.
So like, it's in part her fault, but it's also in part her programming that she was literally told to look for faults on people. Right? Like as a beautician, you
Yeah.
pluck eyebrows and
Yeah.
make up spots closed and wax this and wax that and comb hair this way and cut it like that. This 1 millimeter of split ends need to be cut off right now. So my mom has been like conditioned to only see the fault
Mhm.
her whole life, and she's been practicing on me. Right? So every single time, and I shared this yesterday, every single time I go to see my family, it's like my skin health gets worse. So, and then by the time I see my mom again, she's like, "Oh, your skin health looks bad," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, I know." Right? And I ask her not to, and then by the next time, oh, it happens all over again. Oh, I'm not getting stop eating breakfast. I'm not gonna stop eating breakfast. I love hollandaise sauce and eggs too much, but it's something to think about. To each their own, right? We can get we can share information, but we don't have to like listen to each other. I think it's a different fractal, you know. If you're just like, I'm not gonna listen to you when someone starts talking about something,
Mm.
because then it's like not like we're not allowing what
Like
this
take
space
in
is
the
for.
information, use it if want to use it.
Yeah.
That is all.
Think
If
it was
you
like
don't want
a-
to use it, then not use. It's
Yeah,
fine.
another fractal of like, and I'll say so, one of the friends, bro. One of the friends once said that I was like jokingly asking, any of you have $150,000? So when I wanted to buy one of those barcodes,
Yeah.
and she was like, even if I had $150,000, I wouldn't give it to you. Oh. Like, and I'm like, you don't have to say shit like that. You know, that's just like harm. Like, that's just purposefully in my mind hurtful. Like, oh, I can say like anything in existence, but I'm gonna choose to say this one line that will inflict damage to
Yeah,
this
most
person.
people wouldn't give $150,000.
No, but and I didn't
Yeah,
expect
so-
any of
yeah,
them
it
to
was-
be like, oh yeah, I have
It
$150,000.
was just like a figure of speech,
Yeah.
like our universe.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm agreeing with you, Mel. I'm saying that something about the government, health professionals are wary of staying it as a directive in case people incorrectly think fasting alone will cure. Yeah, again, right? Like for some people, chemo doesn't work. All right, it doesn't cure their cancer as well. Like chemo isn't a cure for cancer in the same way. It's a treatment for cancer. But there's been proof that if you fast while doing chemo, your chances go up significantly. With like some breast cancer rates, it's like 84% higher chance of not getting breast cancer again if you fasted during your process. Because again, cancer cells eat glucose.
Yeah.
So sugar. If you eat sugar while
Sugar
having
starves
cancer,
yourself.
yeah, and then that thing literally doesn't have the resources to keep building itself. And then on top of the like chemo, it's like it's like put in a barrel. Yeah. Like again, the reason I'm sharing, I don't have cancer, right? But someone might. And the idea of them dying of cancer and having this tool that is fasting just laying on the table while they die means that I do not love the living if I allow that. Right? Today's stream topic was about loving the living. I want all of you to continue living as long as possible. And I believe fasting helps. It helps. Right? It's kind of like a shame that it's part of the way it did. Was supposed to be like a lovey-dovey, you know, like kumbaya kind of topic. It's an interesting view. Love being opposite of the indifference. Love being the opposite of indifference. I suppose hatred is just love of hyper-focused anger towards someone. Exactly. Right. That's why I do not think hate is the opposite. Two sides of the same coin, I guess. That is very true. Energy is not created, only transferred. So energy must be spent in order to turn that food into more energy. Physics is very recursive. Friends cast, vicious mockery. for 2d6 damage. Yeah, it is vicious mockery, I guess, right? This is a Dungeons and Dragons fractal. To some of you friends, it's like, you didn't get viciously mockery. No, I'm not. I was just joking. I don't think that a vicious mockery is just a spell. Like if you're a bard, I think you can cast vicious mockery, and you can like destroy someone's soul, destroy their egos. You know, hurt them on a psychological level instead of on a physical level. And you can cripple them in that way. You can. Technically, it is kind of a spell in Dungeons of Dragons, but you have the ability to cast spells with your words as well, right? You can say things to people and then make them feel things. And you saying something and them feeling something is directly attached to you as a person, right? Indefinitely. Every single feeling you make a person feel by the words you say becomes attached to your relationship with them. All right, and if you keep casting vicious mockery on someone, they're probably not going to trust you with their emotions, trust you with their heart, you know, which is fine, I guess, as well. Now I know why I make you so angry. I give you family energy. That could be taken as a compliment. Yeah, you know, unfortunately, you're reminding me of the worst parts of my family, Joy, which is not exactly the family energy I want to be reminded of. Right? Like being dismissed. Like I am an intelligent person and I will become successful in many ways because of my intelligence. And those that listen to me will benefit from it. I believe this. From an ego perspective, absolutely. But also from a place of social trust. Right? I have a track record of giving good advice. And my friends have a track record of either following my advice or not following my advice. And those friends who follow my good advice are usually better for it. Right? Not once has someone followed the good advice I give and came back to me and be like, yeah, Mel, I tried this thing you suggested and now my life is worse for it. Right? I have only been thanked. And then, you know, having the opposite done, of being dismissed before even getting to say the things you want to say, you know, it doesn't feel good. I don't know if that's something to be proud of, Genevieve. I suppose in a lot of ways, sure. Yeah, there is a reason I'm away from my family, right? Getting dismissed. I come from a family of engineers, so a bunch of people that think they're very smart, right? A bunch of people that went to university so that they have a piece of paper that tells them how smart they are, right? And their whole thing is dismissal. There's either an understanding that they have already had, an idea they've already had, or there is dismissal. No, that can't work because I haven't thought about it first. Right? And I do not have a room in my heart anymore for that kind of dismissal. I add separation, right? I can't create separation, but I can add some distance, add some bars between me, add some walls between my heart and the other. You have a track record of saying insane shit in the regular, yeah, but my insane stuff that I say is usually entertainment, Joy. Have you ever considered that I'm being an entertainer right now? Right? That's what this stream is in part as well. Right? And I can say the same stuff over and over again. But that won't be very entertaining. I can say the most sane thing in existence, you know. I don't know. Like a part of me wanted to be like, go to school, get an education, start working a job. find a partner, adopt some kids, get a mortgage. But that sounds unironically like more insane to me than anything else I can say. And I can say that over and over again, and you can consider that not insane. Like, goodness. I guess it's an expectation kind of thing, right? I'm gonna keep saying insane things. And I'm gonna keep being proven right. It's just a matter of time, JB. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. We are going to become something else very soon as a species, and that might sound like some insane shit to you. But it's already happening. It's already happening. And again, it's not advice. There's nothing you can do about that. Today's stream topic, and every stream topic, has been the process of conscious evolution, where me, as an entity, understanding that the future we're about to embrace, and about to me is literally the next 100 years, right? About to embrace. I have this responsibility to love the living, to love my life as I'm living it, and to love those in my life as I'm living it, right? Loving the living. And then again, most of our evolution has happened biologically in the past. And all of our evolution will happen going forward consciously. So we show up day by day as an intent to consciously evolve, right? And then I share topics. That help me in this process of conscious evolution evolve, right? Think things, feel things, grow as a spirit. And then I share, as a part of my story, the things that my body does, right? Like fasting, for an example, right? And then there is this like level of load, the amount of effort, the amount of showing up day after day, the amount of social proof of like, I say I'm gonna do something, and then I fucking do it. No excuses. And I'm sorry for my profanities, but I'm trying to add more power to my statements, right? I've been doing that. And then still to be dismissed, right? By one of those who have been around for this social proof I've been creating, right? It feels like a low blow, right? It feels like a lie. And it feels like a lie both to me, and I don't know if it's the person to themselves as well. Maybe it's like a fractal of knowingly, churning it through. Like I hope so, at least, right? Are you doing it on purpose? Tell me if you're doing it on purpose, then I can at least like dispel, some of my own fractals. People like us who have some introspective abilities make others uncomfortable. Your family will always brush you off because that is what protects their ego. It is survival instinct. Yeah. I'm not trying to kill anybody. I want all of you to live longer. Right? Again, the future we're heading into, it's not the same future people think they're living in right now. We're going to have challenges that are significantly different to the ones we're facing right now. And again, I believe that challenge is going to be one of your conscious mind. The things you say to people, because of that conscious mind, how you are conscious of your environment, and then what that environment, what you seeing the living makes you say. Is that thing you're saying coming from a place of love? Is love true in the thing you're saying? If not, then you should correct your language, right? And you can be like, oh, don't tell me to correct my language, Mel. But guess what? I learned that lesson the hard way. I used to be very depressed, suicidal, and extremely mean. And I would say things dismissive to people. I would make them out to look stupid because I thought myself to be smart. And I was hated for it. Not a single person that I dismissed liked me for it. Not a single person that I dismissed wanted to be my friend for it. Right? There was only dissonance. There was only more harm, There was only more the universe falling apart instead of being brought together because of that energy. And I can be like, oh, this is who I am, right? I am this person who dismisses. Or I could change. And changing have brought me many more opportunities than being that version of me could have ever. I'm still so lost as to how such a loving topic ended up so harmful. I got it, at least in my mind, right? Because again, today's stream topic and the things that I shared as the stream topic was about celebrating, uplifting the living, right? And then it felt like there was some sort of pushback with me trying to bring this. And I don't understand, right? And I like understanding things. I kind of do, right? My ego feels a little bit more comfortable in that state of knowing. And to not know, right? To not understand, like why there is such a lack of understanding despite the amount of, effort we've done, it is confusing. And I don't like, again, that state of confusion. The only way I can participate in the stream is not being able to read the toxic projections that come out of it still hurts me to see Melt experience those projections. For what it's worth, I have no idea what's going to set you off, so I don't do it on purpose usually. I don't know something is dismissive until you say it is. Joviv, like, I want to believe that, but does it not occur to you when you're typing out a message like, because you said it, I'm not gonna listen. If anyone else said it, then I would listen. But since you're saying it, I won't. Like, how is that anything other than dismissive? Like, I really am asking seriously. Like, how could that be interpreted any differently? Like, is that supposed to make me feel loved? Oh, thank you, Jovi. Yeah, because it's me. You couldn't. Meanwhile, some of the friends here enable are making elaborate excuses of the little Melt for being hurt by her. Respect boundaries. Thank you, God, for standing up for me too, Brother Bear. I appreciate your love, man. Meanwhile, Melt, maybe you already have, but having a conversation with your family about your feelings about being dismissed for your thoughts and beliefs would help. I've had that conversation, yeah, and then she. But again, I'm like met with, if you don't want to be dismissed, then start talking logic, or start making sense, or like there's still a reason that people end up dismissing you, right? Like this, the reason we got today is that I didn't interpret my dismissiveness as dismissiveness, right? Like there's always a reason, unfortunately, with that kind of energy that is not always easy to like say, because I have said things before, like we had 2 days ago, right? Again, I was being dismissed. I was like sharing from my heart the perspective left, like the stuff that I've been through and the struggles that come along with it, and then being dismissed, like right? Like it has been like the only reason I'm as vocal about it is because it's been a pattern. Like it's not been a pattern for long, like the last 2 weeks specifically. So maybe there's like, again, I'm trying to understand. I'm not banning anybody. I'm not sending anybody home. I'm just trying to understand. Also, you have never liked me, God. I don't hold it against you. I'm not for everyone. I'm still great for you every time you show up regardless. I think my interpretation of vicious mockery earlier seems a lot more accurate now. Yeah, seriously, I've been on the stream for years, it seems, and I've watched you fast and then come on saying that you lost control and ended up binging. It happened many times at the farm. It hurt to watch that. Yeah. And again, it's because I was in an environment, Joyviv. It's because of the environment I was in. It wasn't fasting that was the problem. It was being surrounded by more baked goods than most people get to see in literally a year, right? Always having more to eat than I can handle. So every single day, as I'm moving about my day, as I'm spending the hours I have in my day, I'm passing by cakes and like literal 5 pound, maybe even more, 10 pound jars of biscuits and rusks, right? And like literal jars of multiple compartments of candy. And there's like chips in the cupboard because my mom likes having chips in the home. And there is, milks and stuff like that in the fridge. So there are all of these things in my environment that's always like tempting me. That's pulling me away from this thing that I'm supposed to be doing. And again, my mom bakes, so it's not only like a visual thing. It's literally in the air. My sister also makes food, so she has this way of, and as like been this running joke where every single time I start fasting at home, suddenly there are new things, new novel things being made, and then my mind is like, oh, I've never had that. I've never had a, like, I'm trying to think of one of the special things my sister made, but I'm losing the words. Like I'm thinking about one of them, right, where there was tiramisu. I was fasting, and then tiramisu was made, right? And tiramisu doesn't really, keep that well because of its cream-based nature. So my mind is like, oh, bro, come on, dude. You might as well have some tiramisu. And then by the time I've now reintroduced literal sugar, cream, and alcohol into my diet as one of the first things I eat, it spikes my insulin again. And then it restarts that pattern of consumption, right? And that's not fasting's fault. That's like my own problem. And I've shared that. With you as well. And fasting has been one of the only things that have helped me, right? Like, it's not any different. Like, if I'm not fasting, I'm constantly binging. Like, that's the alternative. I'm either not binging or I am binging. And then when I stop fasting, I start binging. Like, it's not a bad thing in my mind. It's just how I consume food. Like, I have to eat a lot. I'm not trying to hurt you or argue against fasting. Starving and binging is not fasting. It's an eating disorder. Yeah, and I haven't done that in literal months, Joy V. It's been almost a year now. I don't know exactly how long it's been. You can go and check, right? Since the last time I was doing fasting. So you're like recognizing a pattern that also doesn't exist. I'm so happy to hear that it's been a problem for you. It hasn't been a problem for you since you left home. Yeah, it also is a financial thing as well, I guess, right? Like, it's easier to fast. And that's how I started fasting as well, like properly. The way fasting became a part of my life was just with not having the finances to afford food, right? So again, it helps in that way as well. Like, not eating for a week does save me a lot of cash technically. And I hear Joy V being like, yeah, that's a problem, seeing it that way. It's multiple things. It's multiple things at the same time. It is autophagy, something that's good for your body. It is spiritual, a process of you showing yourself as a spirit, that this body isn't the thing calling the shots kind of vibe. It is financial, right? Because I do not make a lot of money right now. So saving cash while I'm not eating also helps. It is literally good for your skin. And I've been talking about my skin health not being as good as I want it to be. So there are all of these vectors of like health that it helps for, scientifically proven. And then there are the fractals of like financial, help that it has as well. Like, it's everything is very, very alive, right? There's a bunch of reasons for us doing things, and dismissing people doesn't seem to help, at least not in my life. Take care of yourself, Mel. You're very loved. Come across differently than other statements. I agree. Thank you, Heather. Those are just excuses for having an eating disorder. Yeah, okay. Like, there's an art to meditation. Intense fasting can lead to bad experiences. What is your idea of intense fasting? Right? Like 40-day fasts? I've never done one of those, and I do not recommend them either, because again, and I even mentioned the whole body fat percentage thing. Yeah, but as with everything, meditation is the key to success. It's not about that, Joyviv. It's... Yo. Of course I pulled that card. We got together, we fly. Together we fly. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. And it is technically about like flying together. Alright, instead of dragging each other down kind of vibes. Gotta go. Before I do, I appreciate the time you put into each day's topic. I've done fasting, but it was regimented. That I was working with someone while doing it. Recommended, I'm guessing. Yeah, it's also advisable, right? Someone that can help taste your blood. But again, right, it's not exactly financially feasible for everybody to do so. So again, in my mind, like we can gatekeep fasting and be like, no, you need to have a medical professional, otherwise you can't fast. Which again feels like we're back to not loving the living, right? For the living to get the health benefits that is fasting, needing to pay for it isn't loving the living in my mind, right? So loving the living, I love you, all of you, especially you, Joyviv. I don't know if especially you was the right way to say, but I love you too, right? Like, and I don't want you to not be in my life, but like there's been this pattern the last few weeks where you have been very disrespectful of the word I used last time, right? And dismissive in your language. And again, right, I don't know, and I did ask now if there's something been going on, right? Maybe there's like some sort of unresolved, what's the word I'm looking for exactly? Subconscious, something subconscious, you know, that's like prompting you. Maybe there's something you're angry at. But I've not been projecting, you know, anything towards you. At least I hope I haven't. But like it is, I've been feeling these things. I think you take it that way. There's nothing I'm angry at. Life is great. I'm not angry at you either, Joyviv. I just don't want to be hurt by something that is so simple, right? Like you can just choose not to say things like that, but you're choosing to, and it concerns me, right? From like a friend perspective. Like if Christian was saying the exact same stuff to me, and he does sometimes, right? I would be hurt as well, right? It wouldn't be like an exclusionary thing. Like any person in my life that would say something like that to me will hear me say something about it in turn. But Chad doesn't have any nuance. Yeah. Love is true. Someone doing it. Love and respect, Mal. I'm here for you and support you. Joyviv's behavior is unacceptable. I mean, I'm accepting it. I'm very accepting. I'm a very accepting guy, Gab. Because again, I have been trained to be accepting. I've grown up with a family that's like that, right? And I don't hate my family. I don't not see my family. I saw my family this weekend. But in the same way that I have now created distance between me and my family because of that behavior, I feel concern in my heart that it is calling me to create that distance between me and some of my friends as well, right? And as soon as I feel that, it feels like a betrayal of me loving life, right? That is I think what today's like kernel for me was about. The part of me that's on fire is that part. Loving friends call each other out for shitty behavior. Thank you for being a loving friend. Because again, I'm a pattern recognizer, and if I see a pattern repeat that will not serve one of my friends, I will say something about it. It's easy to read into things that just aren't there. Sorry you get taken for granted. Love is true, bro. Like I'm not. I feel like I was more emotional than I am right now. From day one. Not everybody has to like each other, right? But again, all of us can love each other for living. And again. That's like the real kernel that I want to like have us all take away from today's stream, right? Everybody is very alive. And in this aliveness, we do differently. And in the same way, we can watch two squirrels. Maybe one of them, like is licking their hands and brushing their face, and the other one is doing zoomies around the tree. Those are two very different states of being. But we can find love, we can find cute, we can find joy in watching both of those things as well, right? And all of us express differently. And I love you, friends, for your living. I appreciate both of the perspectives I've been given. Right? I feel like I don't want it to be so polarized. Exactly. Right. Not exactly as I don't like things quite as polarized. But I do get where it's coming from, and I'm taking it as love. I'm seeing it as love because it absolutely is. Thank you. Thank you for loving me. A little living thing. I am living, right? I wanted to just slap myself. And then I was like, how about you don't do that? How about you don't do that, myself? Myself says to me, I've been through the various avoidant attachment styles forever, but I'm more aware and willing. You want to teach me something, Hoopy? Eric, you want to teach me what you've learned? Should I avoid? Should I attach? Teach me, bro. I need help. I want Mel to see my vicious mockery comment between Joy Deep stuff. I'm so proud of it. I think he'd love it. Maybe I missed it, toxicity. Mel, I think there's a reason why vicious mockery inflicts psychic damage in D&D. It leaves no burns or scars. All it does is hurt the mind to the point of feeling weak. Yeah. Weak and out of control, dude. Out of control, right? Like it's absolutely an ego thing, right? Like I am an ego. This thing you're looking at is an ego, right? This ego projects a persona. And behind this persona, behind this ego, there is consciousness. This version of me that is ceaselessly aware, ever present in this moment, right? And like this persona, this person, doesn't really mind getting hurt. The ego is very aggressive, I think the word is. So it takes hurt as a challenge, right? It takes hurt as like, oh yeah. And then the conscious version of me just wants to love, right? And I have been trying to more and more identify with this person, this conscious version of me that's just here to love, right? Not for any other reason. And today's stream topic was kind of like a settling into that version of ourselves, loving the living, right? Acknowledging that this conscious version of you is loving this part of you that is the living. All right. You want to play some music for us?
Oh,
you want to just do like a...
I wanted to go to the copy, but I'll go to the copy.
You can go. You don't have to. You have to go.
I can wait a bit. Just chill.
I'm chilling as well, so I thought you were just gonna sit here and play for a bit.
I just want to fetch stuff.
Thank you.
Let's see what inspiration station.
Kristen has 777 our space. I
Nice.
appreciate that. Yes, that's the one. It's true, toxicity. And I feel like one of the things with like the psychic damage part as well is like if there's like a physical wound or like a bruise from getting punched, at least there's something you can point to and be like, yeah, this is where I was hurt, right? But with like words, you can hurt a person in ways that might even be more because again, like I don't care. I heal fast, right? Like when I cut myself or when I stub my toe, like before I know I'm already healed, right? But like when it comes to the things I think about, I don't forget, unfortunately, and I'm only going to forget less, technically, as I symbiosis myself as well. So, the words you friends end up saying to me will either be very absorbed, taken into my heart of hearts, or ignored, right? And for me at least, it's gonna reach a point where I will only be able to absorb so much, and I will not absorb the information that's going to hurt my heart. I just will refuse. Love is to everybody. Boom. So much love. I take it again. Love is to everybody. More. Love is true. Thank you, Kristen. My sister takes a maintenance drug for addiction to stay sober. She couldn't stay clean and healthy if she had a friend who insisted daily that maintenance therapy was not sobriety. I'm not saying either side of maintenance therapy versus sobriety is correct. I'm simply stating that being aggressive about an opposing view creates distance. This is true. There are many different ways to skin a cat. And there are many different ways to say that phrase as well, and that's probably one of the worst ones. There's many ways to get at a problem, and each of us have different ways of dealing with this life. Again, this space has been a space for me to share this living being. I'm not saying this living being is right all the time. I'm not saying this living being needs to be, worship. You need to drop at my feet and kiss my toes if you see me. Never said that, right? I don't think that about myself. This living being is here to love, right? That's what this being is here to do. And today's stream topic, I just wanted to like share that sentiment kind of vibe. And I felt like, my sentiment got betrayed in some way. Maybe by myself. Maybe by myself, Maybe that could be one way to interpret it as well. But I learn. I do learn. I do have a headache too, but I learn. I'm not half as spicy as I have been in the past, so I don't know why you get so inflamed lately. I mean, generally, when I'm trying to punch with my words, I do with much more gusto. I think because as of late, you used to be just like baseline spicy, as you said. It just used to be like spicy, and as of late, it's gotten just like mean, right? Like, and maybe mean is better than spicy, but not to me, right? Because I can see spicy as like, oh, this is just fun. But like I'm thinking like because I remember all of the instances, obviously. They're very much in my brain, and hopefully I'll forget them at some time. Talking about, let me smoke some more weed. But it's like the last few instances where I've gotten a little bit more, if you want to call it inflamed, is when you were being dismissive and belittling. And that's not how we make friends feel, right? That's not how I am made to feel by my friends. And that's not how I make my friends feel. And I do not befriend people that make other people feel that way. Quite the contrary. And that's the point. I'm not trying to be mean or spicy. you're taking what I'm saying as such. Okay, Joydeep. So when you paraphrase my words and go, you had to get a job from your uncle, do you know how ridiculous that sounds? That was 2 days ago. And me trying to share that the opportunities for me are so limited that the only option I have is groveling for a job with a family member. And then being called ridiculous. Do you hear yourself? I am told. Right? And then, a few days prior to that, I share this hope, this want to build a business, right? And I'm sharing this excitement with you friends, and I start this conversation by going, anybody got 150 grand? Right? And then you choosing to make that point that you made. And then again, today, right? And this is now the last week and a half of like, yeah, you know, if anyone else was saying it. Like, sure, you can be like, I'm taking it as such, but how else was I supposed to take any of those statements? Like, again, like if I took it in one way, what are the other ways to take it? What way did you want me to take it? Like, I don't see how that like gives me the infrastructure. Like if you're giving me a canvas and a big bucket of poop, right? Like I can only paint brown pictures. Smearing shit on a canvas. That's the only thing I can do artistically with that resource, with that experience that I've been given. I was coming from a perspective that you were lucky to have an uncle of a business that could give you a job. And I agree with that. But like again, Joydeep, I am one of the lucky ones in that way. There are millions that are not that lucky. That are in, and that conversation was again about white privilege and you using that word against me, right? And I very much against me. How was I supposed to take that? Right? Because again, my statement in that fractal was that it's a purely racist statement, purely to use that as a word in any conversation. Like it serves no function other than to create turmoil. Right? And then again, if we're like talking about all of these injustices that have been committed by people, why are we repeating the same patterns? It's this fractal of like, oh yeah, so and so use their position of power to do so and so. However, that person using those words would have done the literal same and sometimes even worse in the exact same position of power. Right? So it's like we're trying to like paint these little boxes around each other, right? Like the days, like the 2 days, or let's talk about the first fractal, the whole investment fractal. That box is you are not worthy, and that's the way I'm interpreting, right? And again, let me share my direct interpretation. Even if I had the money to invest in you, you are not worthy of it. Even if I had $150,000, I wouldn't give it to you. Even if I could invest in someone, I wouldn't invest in you, right? That's how I interpret it. Then the second one is, you you are where you are because you're white. You have this privilege of being white, and that's why so insists. Which again is like, you are not who you are because of who you've been trying to be. You are who you are because you're white, right? Because that's literally, and again, right? Oh, because you're lucky, because you're this, because you're that. Not because of my efforts, because you're white, because you're lucky, right? Again, dismissal, making me less than, putting me in this box. And in today's again, right? Was this putting me in the box of, like anyone else could talk about this topic, but you exclusively not. Right? It's this dismissal over and over and over again. That is how you interpret it. Like, and I'm asking now for the last time before I read our card, how else am I supposed to interpret that information? Looking out like a negative, this choice frame, Joy's malicious comment was obviously trying to disregard the framing. Like a negative, this Joyce frame. I'm missing some context, but yeah. Is there a way, Joy V, that one could express to you that they are feeling hurt, dismissed, that would be more helpful and be more likely to get you to seriously consider it? Yeah, that is a good question to ask. Like, how am I supposed to say it? How am I supposed to ask? Because I don't feel like I'm asking for a lot. I'm asking for the same respect I've been giving you, the same love, the same praise for your efforts. I'm asking only for that, Joy V. I'm not asking you for anything that I'm not giving actively. I'm asking you to just take a moment, right? I'm live right now. I'm literally, the words are just flowing non-stop. I have no room. I don't have a second to think about what I have to say next, right? At least when you're texting, you have. You have a second to think about what you're saying and how that might affect me and how me being affected is going to affect every single other person that's also in this space with us, right? Like, it's a massive responsibility we have using our words, and we've talked in length about that on Stream Topics. Growth and freedom. Yes, I need to grow more. I need to keep growing indefinitely. Together we fly. I saw a hawk or an eagle fly over me today. Only one of them though. When I was doing my yoga shavasana. The dragonfly reminds you to dispel illusion. The illusion that I am under right now is that I have been wronged. Right? And I haven't. I cannot be wronged. I cannot be wrong because there is no separation. My mind is going down the cancer rabbit hole, and it's like, bro, sometimes separation is needed, otherwise it's wrong. Stop it, logical mind. I'm trying to consciously evolve here. Alright, together we fly. Embedded within this card is beautiful geometry that was created by the crop circle makers in Great Britain in 2005. It is reminiscent of ancient stone glyphs and suggests a code that, if carefully calibrated, may unlock potential and accelerate growth. The magical couple holds hands as they take wing and soar above a lush green tropical environment. Growth is all around them. Life is all around them, embracing and nourishing their shared vision of expansive freedom within sacred union. By joining together in this freedom flight, they amplify their individual potentials and grow beyond the bounds of conventional relationship to a place of resonance with all of creation. Two hawks act as guides in flight and far-sighted awareness. The dragonfly reminds them not to get caught up in illusion. This card asks you to expand your vision of personal power. Okay. Envisioning yourself unlocking your own capacity for growth and then reaching beyond yourself to touch the ones you love. Envision yourself unlocking your own capacity for growth and then reaching beyond yourself to touch the ones you love. It further asks you to allow your relationships to flourish and grow in their own manner and to celebrate the potential for mutual growth and shared freedom. All right. My head is very hurt right now. Feels like someone put a brick in my brain. It's probably because of my wisdom tooth growing as well. It's not just because of the circumstances. I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of love. All of us deserve to say those words. Can you say those words out loud, please? Like, I am kind of serious. Just say, I am worthy of love. You don't have to believe. You don't have to say it loud. But I think all of us are worthy of love. Simply due to our aliveness. Right? Again, in the same way, you can look lovingly at a dog chasing after his own tail or playing fetch with their owner. So too, you are deserving of someone watching you eat a hot dog, make yourself a coffee, save yourself from falling on the ground when you were slipping. Right? You deserve to be loved just for those things. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of respect. I'm worthy of consideration. I'm worthy of investment. I'm worthy of consideration. I am worthy of love. Maybe look at it that emphasizing can be done in a different way than you've done it before. Empathizing in a different way. I mean, again, in these circumstances, I become a student. I pay attention to my own feelings, and I'm a very respectful person of my own feelings as well, right? If I feel things, me pretending I don't is the most authentic version of me, the most inauthentic version of me, right? Pretending I don't have feelings, I'm not me, right? So I can either continue to not be me, or I can be me for as long as it takes to get out what being me means, right? I'm in a shared Uber, so I can't say it out loud without being stared at. I kind of like that fractal even more. The fact that you are in a shared Uber. I think it's even more important than you say it. And you realize you look, and you realize you talk faster than your life is answering. You talk faster than your life is answering. I agree with that, actually. I like that as well, Maula. But I think that's how it works. I think it starts as a thought, right? Maybe it starts as societal norms first, right? Shows up as what's acceptable and what's unacceptable. It shows up what can be and what can't be done. And then, after consciousness allows, from a place of love, that livingness to permeate into the mind, thoughts arise. And then from those thoughts, if they are allowed to grow enough and they're allowed to be practiced, words will come, right? And those words will be like volumes. You can say a lot about what you're going to do. And then if you are lucky enough, if you have the will, you'll start doing the things you said you're going to do. And if you can manage that, the things you said you're going to do are going to start getting done. and you will build this catalog, this social proof, this evidence of your work. And as this evidence grows, the ability for the universe to meet you halfway will as well. And I feel it's this step-based thing, right? Because again, that's why I'm so like skizzed about words. Because if words are coming out in a certain way, I'm imagining like, was there any thought? Was there any thought behind those words? And if there's not, that also causes me concern. And if there was thoughts, and that's still the words that came out, that causes me even more concern. Right? Like I have heard some things, like especially weirdly enough, in like passing conversations. Like a conversation where someone thinks they're talking to someone else, and then I hear a part of that conversation. That's where I've heard the most shocking things in my life. Goodness. But then at the same time, this is part of me that always brings myself back to just loving life, loving the living, loving the fact that I have ears to hear shocking things as well. Right? Trying to bring myself back to it. I just realized that streaming is sort of like being in a shared Uber with all of the internet. Yeah, wholly vulnerable. That's exactly what it's like. But also, not only that, but like you're also in a shared Uber with like your parents, right? Like I feel like it's like a fractal of not only everyone, but also everyone. Also someone's, right? Like it's almost weirder in that way. Like if it was everyone, it would be fine. But the fact that it's not everyone makes it even more vulnerable. I hope what I'm saying is coming through. I love you. That's why I do these streams. That's why I stay. I thank you, dear friends. I'll see you again real soon. I've read our goodbye card. Now I can read as a goodbye message. My head feels very heavy. Please write me a Shan message about loving the living. Have the most enchanting day, everyone. I wholeheartedly love you all so marvelously, profoundly, joyously, dazzlingly, tenderly, luminously, wondrously, staggeringly, enchantingly. Melt, and all of you, oh so compassionate, inspiring, uplifting, kind, extraordinarily radiant, thoughtful, incredible, amazing, loving friends who cherish the living and show up with me once again. We'll do it again tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet. Guess we'll find it together. See you again soon, dear friends. Goodbye.